legs enough where someone who knows you and have seen your good swings and kind of sit there and analyze it in that at bat and tell you what's wrong with you, or say, hey, are you feeling this? Are you feeling that? And that kind of helps you in a way as a hitter to make those adjustments for, say, your second or third or fourth at bat. So it's for sure, something that's going to be huge for myself and the team going forward. And to have him back I'm ecstatic. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he got the shot for him to get him out here. And the whole team is excited to have him.
You came into last season kind of expecting to play more left field than third base, and that got flipped pretty early on. Just how different of an offseason was this for you, being able to prepare essentially to really be the third baseman as close to full time as possible?
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's huge when you kind of you kind of go into a spring training where you know what position you're going to play or where you're majority going to play. And during the off season, the game plan was to continue to get better agile or side to side in a way, good going front and back. But I think it's a huge confidence booster or like a security issue or something where like you have a goal or you have a position to, work on through the offseason without actually knowing going into spring training where it has been in the past.
Thanks.
Next question is from Tony DeComo.
Hey, JD, good to see you.
Hey, Tony.
All offseason there were, rumors whether it was Nolan Arenado or Chris Bryant or whatever the name of the week might have been. And I'm just curious how much those came across your radar. And secondly to that, how much it maybe affected you just thinking to yourself like, hey, I'm a good player too. There's no reason why I can't be the everyday third baseman here.
Yeah, no, I know. See, I've been in trade talks since, 2015, 2016. So the trade talks with me, it's a business, and I know in the long run, really nothing I can do about it. I think we had the same exact question after the 2019 season during the Thurman Munson Award. I was in trade talks then, and people or reporters asked me about, am I worried about trade talks? And I'm not. It is what it is. I think it's actually pretty cool to be in a package deal with Nolan Arenado and Matt Chapman and Chris Bryant. I think that's actually pretty cool. It says a lot where I've come from and come from as a player. So it is what it is. I have full confidence in my capability. I'm a major leaguer. I'm a big leaguer, and I know that, and I'm going to stand behind that. And so, and I love these guys. I love this organization. I love being around these guys. I connect with these guys. So am I happy to be a Met coming in here? Absolutely.
Follow up real quickly. Did you ever seek assurances from the front office or get assurances from the front office that like, hey, you're our guy, don't worry about it?
No, I never reached out for them, and they never reached out to me. It was never something where like, hey, is this going on? Or, hey, what's going on? Give me an update. Is there something in the works now? And there's never any talks about that. Honestly, I'm kind of a guy that or at least you guys know that I'm not a guy really much on social media. I'm really never on Twitter, so I don't read that kind of stuff. I don't like to read that kind of stuff. So honestly, I never really got into it.
Thank you.
Next question is from Tim Healy.
Hey, JD. I'm actually hoping to follow up on two of those topics separately. So even at this point, have you gotten any communication from bosses, whether that's Rojas or Zach Scott or whomever, about how they see your role in playing time for the season?
No, there's actually no verbal or anything like that, just action. For right now, usually we kind of go through a game plan in the years past where we sit down and talk about, hey, we're going to get some reps here in left field. We're going to get here some reps at first base, some at third. But that's been in the years in the past. This year, it's been solely on third base. So it's kind of something that's like unofficially, officially not said. So I'm assuming that, third base is the spot that I'm going to get majority of my work and my reps and where I can grow and where I can succeed, where I can fail, and continue to become a better player.
And I saw you working on a different subject. I saw you working with a couple of the young guys, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos out there earlier. What do you think of them?
Oh, I think they're awesome. They're asking questions, which is actually a huge thing that that I actually respect, especially as young guys coming in and just wanting to learn. I think that's huge for them, huge for their development. And it's just baseball talk. We were talking about different situations in the slow roller. Whoever is throwing on the mound, who's athletic on the mound, who's running at home plate, the situation of where, slow roller, backhanding it or glove handing it or even barehanding it. And they were great. They did their work. They treat themselves as professionals, and they continue to work hard every single step of the way when they're working out with us.
Thank you.
Next question is from Rich Catino.
Hey, JD, good to see you. When you look at what this team has added offensively in the offseason, how deep and unrelenting could your lineup become?
It's pretty scary. It's something that you can't really look the other way when you add, Lindor, you got McCann back there, and you got Alamara, and then, guys all around like Malik Smith, just guys that have come in and just try to contribute. And I think that's huge for the front office to kind of bring in the kind of depth that we have. I think that's absolutely huge, especially in a situation where, a COVID scare where we lose, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 guys just because of close contact based upon the protocol. So it's huge.
Thanks.
Next question is from Disha Dozar.
Hey JD, good to see you again. Conforto and Louie have said that they want the team to sort of ignore the hype of how good this lineup can be and how it looks on paper and just continue working hard throughout the season. For you, what are some of the keys for this team to avoid a situation like last year's finish?
Yeah. I think just stay focused. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think leaning on those guys, Conforto, Lindor, they've set the tone from day one of just getting better, of not settling for average. And I think that kind of helps us as a young core group of guys to continue to develop, to not be comfortable, to always gain knowledge or to get better every single day. And I think if we do that and we focus that and that's a sole purpose as a group, then you know what? I don't think we're going to have the same, finish as we did last year.
How much do you kind of just feed off of that energy even during the season? You referenced it now, but specifically with Lindor and how much he's bringing to the table.
Oh, absolutely. You feed off of it right away. Is you knowing that that type of player, that caliber of a player is wanting to get better and is so focused on the details that why aren't you doing it? You know what I mean? So it comes with a little bit of a humble pie where, you should be getting extra work in. You should be working on this. You should be working on that. You know what? Just because you're a starter or you're third baseman this year or whatever it is. No, you need to get better. If this guy is getting better and he's that good and he still takes pride in his craft, then you should be doing it as well.
Thanks.
Next question is from Justin Toscano.
Hey, JD, you mentioned earlier about kind of the security that comes with knowing what your role probably will be. When you compare that to situations of years past, what positive effects can come from having that security versus maybe not having it so much in those years past?
I think just the comfort of failing. I know that's such a weird thing, but when you're got 50 reps out in left field one day and then 50 reps out at third, and then you may make an error there or you may misplay a ball somewhere, and then you got to wait 2 days to get reps at that position at practice. It's different, and it could be frustrating at times. But being able to stick with one position or whatever, and having that comfort of failing, you're able to grow. And you see all these young players come in and being able to have the starting role and to see them make failures, strike out, errors or whatnot, make, baseball IQ mishaps or whatever it is. And they're able to grow from it. And the perfect example is, Tatis. I mean, look at the man. He's failed a couple times, but he being able to lean on that comfort of failure, not being able, I was in a tough situation. I was with the Astros where, Bregman at the time, MVP caliber player, and it was hard to crack that lineup. So obviously you had to try to play perfect as a young player growing up. But when you're able to have that comfort for failure, you're able to grow and be okay with failing and actually be okay, moving on or turning the page to quicker to succeed.
And to follow up on an earlier question, I guess some players might need those verbal assurances from team decision makers about roles and things like that. Why do you think you're someone that doesn't really care about that stuff?
I don't know. It's just me. I don't need that comfort or that verbal confirmation. I mean, Louie can back me up on this, that I just go about my business. I come in here on a purpose every single day. I know baseball is a business, and then I treat it as that. I try to be here, the first guy here at 6:45, and get a lift, get a workout, get some ground balls, hit in the cage, all before 9:45 meeting. And I think that's a huge part of it.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ed Coleman.
Hey, good to see you, JD.
Hey, Ed.
I wondered your reaction to having Lindor to your left. He was mentioning the other day that he's bounced some things off you, about fielding grounders and that. Just the back and forth you guys have had already about trying to get a comfort level there.
Yeah, no, he's actually spitballed some questions at me of what comfort to say if I'm comfortable going to my left or more comfortable going to my right. I think the communication from him is huge. And I think that's part of touching off what I said before, is the leadership kind of role that he is bringing towards us. And I think that's huge for us. Not that anything against Rosario or Jimenez at all. I wish them absolutely the best, and I miss them. But adding Lindor, that's absolutely huge. And he's a superstar caliber player, and knowing the fact that he's got my left, it makes it even a little bit more comfortable. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Next question is from Wayne Randazzo.
Hey, JD, I know last year you and Gary DiSarcina worked on a lot of specific things like getting rid of the ball more quickly and charging in on balls. Is there anything new that you've kind of worked on with him going into this year, or just more of a continuation on what you've already established with him?
No one ever is a finished product. Everyone needs to get better. So it's kind of a mixture of both. Having the same kind of routine, just as if you are hitting in a cage, you have the same routine as defending. You see Pete being on his knees and working his hands. I've always implemented that. But kind of having that short fungo, keeping my feet moving, I think that's kind of a big thing that's implemented in my routine. And I would have to say what you said about getting rid of the balls quicker. I think it all has to depend on what kind of hitter and what kind of situation. And we talk about that. Is this going to be a fast runner, or is this going to be a slow runner during our practice? And I think we kind of touch base on some of the details that we work on. So, is there anything specific that I've been working on lately? No, I think it's been pretty much the whole generalization of trying to be a better defender.
Thanks.
Next question is from Tim Britton.
Hey, JD, good to see you. We've asked a lot about your defense. I'm wondering, what did you take away from last year offensively, and how did you feel about what you were able to do at the plate last year?
Yeah, I went through ins and outs. I started off pretty good the first couple of weeks, and then I kind of tapered off. And it was just more of a mechanical issue. I think Chile kind of touched base with it about me and my hands. I was being rotational. I was trying to relax up there and try to, slow the ball down. And in case I was being too late, my hands were getting outside of my body, and so I was being rotational. And going off that, I think going into this offseason, I had a good idea about that. And, having a conversation with Chile, with some of those guys in the clubhouse, I had a goal going into this offseason and what I needed to work on. And I think that's huge for any player. And that's what I really worked on, is trying to go back to that 2019 season, being mechanical with my back hip. I think there was a lot of ground balls onto the left side of the infield, which, again, that had to do with being more late, rotational, and not using my legs in my swing. And I think there was a simple problem, and the only way to fix a problem is to identify it. And then you start having solutions and you start working on that. And that's pretty much what I worked on all off season. And it was a great off season.
JD, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Members of the media, we will send out a new link for Luis Rojas. Thank you.